We all love a good eureka moment, right? That flash of inspiration that could change everything. But what if the real genius isn't just having the idea, but building a system to actually, do something with it? Well, today we're diving into exactly that. We're looking at a huge portfolio of 13 powerful inventions, and maybe even more importantly, the super disciplined engine they built to make sure those ideas get out into the world.
All right, so let's get the official definition out of the way. This whole thing is called the G2 and J2 Systems Core Innovations Portfolio. Now that sounds a bit formal, but it boils down to two really simple things. First, it's a stash of 13 technical assets that are patent eligible, which is just a fancy way of saying they're unique, original inventions. And second, their whole job is to zero in on what they call key betterment points. Basically, they're looking for the weak spots in systems we already use and then designing a way to make them way, way better. It's not just random inventing, it's super focused.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll check out the portfolio itself and those 13 assets. Then we'll get into the really cool part, the content creation engine they built. We'll look at how it gets started every single day, and we'll wrap up with the simple principles that guide the whole operation, making things efficient, faster, and better.
Okay, let's get into our first section, a portfolio of innovation. We're going to really try to understand the core concept here.
So what's the big goal here? It's all about improving the systems we already have by laser focusing on these so-called key betterment points. I love that phrase. It's not about just throwing ideas at the wall to see what sticks. No, this is surgical. It's like finding that one single gear in a huge machine that if you just tweak it a little bit, makes the whole thing run smoother, faster, and more efficiently. It's all about targeted impact.
And yeah, there are 13 of them. Think about that for a second. This isn't just one or two clever ideas. It's a whole portfolio, 13 separate, patent-eligible assets. Each one of these could be a game changer in its field. That's a pretty serious collection of firepower, right?
All right, time to peek inside the vault. Let's look at these 13 high-value assets and see what's actually in this portfolio.
Okay, wow, just look at the sheer variety here. We've got everything from an auditable election system, a universal patient monitor, all the way to a smoke condensation chamber. The range is incredible, and that's really its strength. But let's zoom in on just one of them to get a real feel for how this works. See the one that's highlighted? The G2 Modern Traffic Signal System, or MTSS? This is a perfect example of finding a key betterment point. I mean, we all hate sitting at a red light when there's no cross traffic, right? Well, this system gets rid of those dumb static timers. Instead, it's designed to use AI to adapt the traffic flow in real time. The goal? Less congestion, better safety. It's about taking something we deal with every single day and just making it smarter. And remember, that's just one of the 13.
So you've got these 13 amazing, potentially world-changing ideas. Awesome. But now what? How do you actually get anyone to notice? This brings us to the next part of the puzzle, and honestly, it might be just as innovative as the assets themselves, the content creation engine.
I mean, this is the classic problem, isn't it? You can invent the greatest thing since sliced bread, but if you can't explain why it's so great, clearly and consistently, well, it's pretty much just a paperweight. How do you get the word out effectively when you have so much to talk about?
And here's their answer. They didn't just decide to make more content. No, they built a system for it, a machine. It's all laid out in a formal policy, G2P-001, which governs a structured daily workflow for creating content. This is the opposite of waiting for inspiration to strike. It's a disciplined, repeatable process that runs like clockwork.
And the process itself is beautifully simple, really. It breaks down into 3 basic steps. 1, something kicks it off every single day, a trigger. 2, an innovation is chosen, one that focuses on those key betterment points we talked about. And 3, the system starts churning out all sorts of multimedia content to explain it. Trigger, select, produce. Simple.
Okay, let's dig into that first step, because it's pretty crucial. It's the heartbeat of this entire system, the daily innovation trigger. Believe it or not, it all starts with this one simple phrase, daily innovation brief. That's it. According to their formal policy, those 3 words are the official command. It's the key that turns the ignition on this whole powerful engine every single day.
And here's what's really interesting to me. This isn't automated. The policy specifically says it has to be invoked manually. Now, that's not a bug, it's a feature. It makes sure that every day a real person is intentionally and deliberately kicking off the process. There's a human with a purpose behind it.
So what happens after someone says the magic words?
Well, the system gets to work creating this really diverse set of content. We're talking cinematic videos, audio podcasts, and sharp-looking infographics. It's a full-on multi-platform approach, designed to make sure these big ideas can be understood by anyone on any platform. And it all starts with that simple daily trigger.
All right, let's get to the philosophy behind all this. What are the guiding principles that make this whole thing tick? It's all about being efficient, faster, and better.
It really boils down to 3 simple goals. Make the process efficient, make it faster, and make it better. But here's the kicker, and this is what I find so brilliant. They aren't just talking about the inventions themselves. They're applying these principles to the process of talking about the inventions. The goal is to innovate how they communicate. The system for sharing ideas is just as much of an innovation as the ideas themselves.
And that's really the whole picture right there. You have this massive, powerful portfolio of ideas on one hand, and on the other, you have an equally innovative process built specifically to showcase them. The product and the marketing process are perfectly in sync.
So that leaves us with a pretty big question to think about, doesn't it? We put so much emphasis on the eureka moment, that flash of genius. But maybe the real magic isn't just in coming up with the idea. Maybe it's in what happens next. What's the real value of not just having a breakthrough, but of building a disciplined, powerful system to make sure the rest of the world actually gets to see it?